Before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for our guest? Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
And welcome back to Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. And I got a couple of guys going to be joining me tonight, at least one that I'm sure of that will be on with me tonight. And we're going to be talking to them here in just a minute. But we'll check in with them in about 30 seconds, so stay around.
Before Nashville is proudly sponsored by Go-Go Tuners, the go-to tuner for professional and amateur musicians. Get your Go-Go Tuner at gogotuners.com. By Heart to Heart Coffee, the coffee that gives back. Find out more at heart2heartcoffee.com. By Civvies Apparel, worn by heroes, made with respect. Order yours at civviesapparel.com. And by Three Rangers Whiskey, not for the weak or faint-hearted. ThreeRangers.com.
And I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors and say a big thank you to them for sponsoring the show. Tonight I got, it's a new duo that's on the scene, but they're not new to the scene. Okay, so if that makes any sense, the two guys are new, but they're not new to the actual Nashville hubbub and all that stuff. So we're going to be chatting with them tonight. I've got Lance Horton, and Lance is with the new band Madison Station. Lance, how you doing, man?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Don't have your partner on tonight, but we'll deal with you. How's that?
That sounds good.
We can talk about him, and he'll never know it unless he's watching, right?
That's right. That's what I plan on doing, talking all about him.
So to start off with, I mean, you guys are new, but you're not new to the scene in Nashville. You're a new duo. And by the way, I love that hat, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. Tell me a little bit about like growing up, where you're from, what the younger years for Lance Horton was like.
Well, I grew up in Collinwood, Tennessee, which is 12 miles from the Alabama state line here in Middle Tennessee. And Collinwood is about as rural as it gets. You've got a 45-minute drive to the nearest Walmart in any direction that you go. Wow. And so it was nice, quiet living there in Collinwood, and just good old small town life. Can't really beat that. I played sports all through school. That's about all you could do.
Right.
And so sports was my love. It still is a love of mine. I love sports, and then my dad was in a gospel quartet for 30 plus years, and. So growing up, I got to go around listening to them all the time, and that's really where my love of music came from.
Okay. So when you say that you played sports, what was your favorite sport that you played in school?
It started off being basketball, and then as I got older, particularly when I got into high school, football became my best sport. I was better at it than I was any of the other two that I played. So it ended up being football. And so football definitely is my favorite now.
Right. So I got to ask, because you're from Middle Tennessee, but you're close to Alabama, what's your favorite college team?
Oh,
there you go, the Vols.
I've got the game on right now. That's why I'm decked out in the Vols gear. I smoked some wings this afternoon, and my mom and dad is here, and my family, my mother-in-law was over, had a big crew here. So we've been here watching this ball game. So yeah, I'm Tennessee through and through.
Oh, well, man, I'm sorry. I mean to interrupt your ball game there.
Oh no, it's a blowout anyway. It's no big deal. So, I mean, Tennessee's just crushing them, so it's all good.
Yeah. Well, I won't talk about who our favorite college team is then.
Well, if Craig was here, Craig is he's Alabama boy, but he is an Auburn, diehard Auburn fan. So
we would not mesh at all.
Do what? I'm sorry.
I said we would not mesh at all.
So you're an Alabama guy.
Yeah, we're Bama.
Okay, well, that's growing up in Collinwood. It was weird because we were so close to the state line. There were more Tennessee fans than Alabama, but there were a lot of Alabama fans there when I was growing up, and still are. And of course, with the success they've had the last several years, since Saban's been there, it's, that fan base has gotten even larger. So,
it's huge.
so yeah.
So tell me, I mean, your dad was in a gospel band, you said, for a gospel quartet for 30 years.
Yep.
So how did you get into music? Was it just you started off singing, you started off playing an instrument?
Well, I took some drum lessons for a while, and I don't play guitar. I can pick out a piano a little bit, but mostly singing is what I do. And and when I write, it's usually all co-writing. Obviously, the musicians, they're the ones doing melody and all that, and then I've basically most of the writing I've done has just been lyricist type stuff, just lyrics. And but yeah, I was always real shy growing up, so I was too scared to sing publicly most of the time. I did sing a little bit in church, very little, but just a little growing up, and then. I guess when I got to college, out of college, a buddy of mine, my cousin, he's been writing. He's been a songwriter in Nashville for years, and I would ride up with him to the Bluebird. And then when I graduated college, he and I actually got an apartment together, and I lived up in Nashville for a year. And that's really when I started. Him and some other buddies of ours would let me get up on stage, invite me up on stage to sing and stuff. And that's really when I started, I don't want to say pursuing a career in music, but really that's what lit my fire to want to do that. And then later on, I was in cover bands here and there, and it never was really something that I, saw myself doing as a career until really Craig came along. And then at that point, I was like, that was a game changer, and he gave me the opportunity to be part of this project, and I've never looked back since.
So, how long have you and Craig known each other?
We've known each other, I'd say, a good 10 years, just through a mutual friend, but we really never got serious about pursuing music on this level until, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess. And it's just it's been a process, and we're farther in that process right now than we've ever been. And we released last year. We released a single, "Shoes Under My Bed." We got it to number 40 on the Billboard Indicator chart, and so at that point we were like, you know what? I think we can do this. And we had already recorded, been in the studio and recorded several songs. And so anyway, we came back with Back in the Day, and it's doing pretty well right now. I've had a pretty good reception. The video starting to pick up a little bit of steam. I think we put it out to radio yesterday, so hopefully it'll be up for ads in a few weeks. And then we've already got another single scheduled to come out in a couple months, and then another one lined up a couple months after that. And, with the way the game is now, you just got to start churning it out there, getting it out to the masses, and getting it out there for people to consume. Sorry, I got a name bothering me here.
I know that feeling. So who would you say were some of your music influences growing up?
Okay. Obviously my dad, cause he sang. But outside that, my mom, when I was growing up, she listened to oldie stations, like 50s and 60s music. And, I sort of elevated towards like the soul R&B singers. I loved, Otis Redding and, Stevie Wonder and Sam Cooke and all those guys. And, that's really what I loved growing up. And then when I got probably in high school, Garth Brooks came along, and Vince Gill. I've always been a huge fan of Vince Gill. Diamond Rio, one of the first country CDs I ever bought was Diamond Rio's debut album. And that's kind of when I started, my love for country began. And rock music. I've always loved rock. I've liked it all. I've always liked rock music. I was in rock cover band for a little while. And so anyway, I'm all over the place.
Right. So do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
Yeah, I was in college, and it was the cheesiest, most ridiculous song you've ever heard. And I think it was about, it was like making fun of like frat life. And there were some frat guys I had some class I didn't really care for. And I was like, wrote this song, like a funny song about them. And then I wrote a song for my sister for at her wedding, that I performed. And then I just went on from there.
Right.
I've been writing since.
So did you record either one of those songs?
Absolutely not. No. At least I don't think there's anything out there. No. I have the first thing I ever recorded was a buddy of mine that I used to play with a lot. We wrote a song. It was actually about my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time, and we wrote a song, and we did a couple of demos, and then I wrote another song when we got married that I performed for her wedding, and we did another little rough recording of that. So that was really the first time I ever actually recorded anything that I had
Right.
written. Yeah.
All right. So when you're writing music, who or what, where, I'll get the right word out here in a minute. Your inspiration, where do you get that from for the music that you write?
For me, I mean, it's just life. You just write about what you know. I mean, some people are talented enough to go out there and just write about all sorts of things, and whether they really know it or not. That for me, obviously, my wife has been part of the subject matter of songs I've written. It's just, friends, just life in general, things that may have happened, maybe, difficult times that have happened in my life, things like that. And that's kind of where I go with it.
Right. So you said that you guys have put out a couple of songs so far, and you got more on the way.
Yes.
What is about Madison Station? What's so unique about the music that people that you want people to listen to it?
Well, I think for starters, the stuff that we've put out so far, "Excuse Under My Bed" was a song that was actually given to us that we didn't write, but Craig wrote back in the day with his brother and a couple of other Nashville writers. And I think the biggest thing for us right now is, we're independent. We do what we want to do. So anytime we've gone in the studio, the songs that we've recorded, it's from us. It's not some contrived, no studio head or label head is like saying, hey, you got to cut this song and do it this way in order for, it to be a big hit or whatever. It's from our heart. It's from our passion.
Right.
There's nothing tainting it, I guess you could say. And I think that's the biggest thing. Also, too, our influences. Me and Craig both are rock fans. He was a huge 80s rock fan. I was more the 90s genre. And you can, when we release all of our stuff, you're going to see that in some of our recordings. Actually, our next single is kind of a little edgier than what we've put out there. I think that's certainly an influence. And then also, we're fans of 90s country. So I think you feel a little bit of that in there. And, we've wanted our music to be relevant. We don't want to put something out there that, radio's going to not even listen to. But at the same time, I think we have our own little styles and things that we've put in there to kind of make it unique and make it our own.
Right. So if you had to classify, and I'm going to qualify this question by saying this, I look at country music today in subgenres. I mean, there's traditional, there's classic, there's contemporary, there's country rock, there's country rap, there's starting to be more of an influx of, I guess you could call it country R&B and things like that.
Yeah.
Where would you put Madison Station in any of those subgenres?
Well, for me, Shoes Under My Bed, and back in the day, we also had a song called Life Living It Smart we released prior to Shoes. That was probably our most traditional sounding song that we've recorded was Life Living It Smart.
Right.
And yeah, Shoes is just, I don't know if you've ever heard that song or not, but it's a great wedding type ballad song that really did pretty well for us, considering. And back in the day, I feel kind of has more of a 90s country feel. I wouldn't consider what we do is, we're not in the vein of like old school traditional. Like, you're not going to mistake our stuff for, George Jones, but at the same time, I'm not knocking modern day country music.
Oh, go ahead.
People like what they like, and that's fine.
Right.
But I highly doubt that I'm going to be rapping on any of our stuff, or I don't think we're going to get into that pop sound.
Right.
Because let's face it, there's a lot of country out there right now that's basically pop music, and there's nothing about it country. And like I said, that's fine. But yeah, no, we're not going to be doing that for sure.
Right. What is one song that you've heard that you thought to yourself, why in the world did I not write that song?
Oh, wow. Probably my favorite country song ever is Vince Gill's When I Call Your Name.
Mm-hmm.
I love that song. It never gets old. I could listen to that song every single day of my life and never get tired of it. It's just a great song. It's just, for me, music, I want it to move me in some way. I've always sort of leaned towards sad songs because that tends to make me feel a certain way. And I like music that evokes emotion. And that song always has done that. Garth Brooks' The Dance is another song that's just amazing. There's a bunch of them, really. But yeah, those two stick out right now off the top of my head.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned something earlier, because like you said, you guys are independent. Mm-hmm. And you don't have, somebody saying, well, you need to go this way, you need to go that way. Is that something that you guys are comfortable with, and you could go, like, I don't know, I don't want to say the span of your career that way, because, every artist's dream is to sign that big contract.
Sure.
But at the same time, you don't have somebody that's, gonna squash the works that you've done yourself.
Right.
So do you guys plan on, or do you see yourselves being independent for a while? Kind of like Cody Johnson,
Yeah. We, we're always listening. We actually had some label interest after Shoes did pretty well. So we're always listening, and it's one of those deals. Craig, let me talk about Craig for 1 second, since he's not here to talk for himself. But obviously he was in the band Heartland.
Right.
I Loved Her First. So it's platinum. How many times? It's got gazillion views on YouTube, all that stuff. And to put it politely, financially, those guys don't have hardly anything to show for it. They signed. A deal, got that song released, put out an album, didn't really know, they didn't know the business at the time. And then they found out the hard way that, they had their little 6-year run and was able to make money on their performances, and that was about it. And so Craig's very cautious, and I don't blame him. If the opportunity did come and we had the chance, we'd certainly listen. But I think he would be very guarded as to what he agreed to. So, and I'm the same way. Like would it be worth it? I guess would be the question. So we would listen to it. I'm not going to say we're not one of these like die hard, hey, we're independent and we're always going to be independent. Yeah, no, that's not the case. If somebody came knocking, we'd certainly listen and see what they had to offer. So,
right. And referencing back to Cody, I mean, he stayed independent for a while and he was pretty much able to write his own record deal.
Right. Yes.
He told them what he wanted, and he's not the kind that if they said, no, we can't give it to you, he wasn't afraid to get up and walk out,
Yeah. And I think the business modern day model has allowed artists to do that because there's so many artists out there now that have been able to have some success without a label. And so now it's almost like the labels are sitting back and looking to see, who's having all this success on Spotify and all these places. And then let's try to get our hand in the cookie jar.
Right.
But I think, the allure of the record deal is not like it used to be. So I also think the record labels now have to kind of tiptoe in a little bit more than they used to could, because let's face it, 10, 15, 20 years ago, if a major label came in and said, hey, we want to sign your record deal, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Sure. Where's the dotted line? Because that was really the only way you could make a living in the business, but that's not the case now. And so I think the model has changed. Record labels are starting to realize that. And the artists can now sort of create their own terms, I think, much more than they used to could, for sure.
Right. Well, and it's a lot different now because, I mean, and even, like I said, 10, 15, 20 years ago, the labels bring certain perks that maybe you couldn't get right away on your own.
Right.
There's certain things that they can do for you that maybe you couldn't do being independent. But, and I mean, I keep referring to Cody because he's the perfect model for this. He pretty much everything that he needed or wanted, he had at the time. He
absolutely
had his bus, he had his band, he paid his guys well, all that stuff. And then the label came along, and basically it was just the exposure on a label and getting the radio airplay that, because he was a Texas artist, he wasn't getting the national airplay.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It just kind of took him from a regional artist to a national artist. Yeah. And, but yeah, that's, he's a great, person to look at to kind of see how it can be.
Right.
And he is an exception in the fact that there's not very many independent artists that are going to be selling out arenas prior to signing a record deal, but it's a much more attainable deal now than it used to be, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think who I saw the other day, might have been Sturgill Simpson or somebody sold out some football stadium or something that's unsigned. So, or at least not signed to a major label. So it was, it's cool to see, for sure.
It is. If you guys say you and Craig sat down, you talked about this, and so you can chime in for him too. But if y'all could go on tour with two acts, what two acts would y'all pick to go on tour with?
He's probably going to pick Motley Crue. Let's see.
Controversy there right now. I don't know if that would be a good.
Well, he is a major fan of theirs, and let me rephrase that. He would have picked them 10, 15 years ago, no doubt. Right. Now, I don't know. For me, are we talking all genre or just country?
Yeah, all genre. It doesn't matter.
Okay. To me, Aerosmith. I've always been a huge Aerosmith fan. I love Steven Tyler. I love all of his weirdness and everything that goes along with it. He's just he's a unique guy with an amazing voice and so much soul. And I've always loved their music. That would be one. And then, I've always been a Garth Brooks fan, and I got to see him for the first time live. I guess it was 4 years ago at Bridgestone Arena. And it was amazing. Like that, he'd be another guy. If you could go tour with him and go, play sold out stadiums and arenas and stuff every night, that would be pretty cool. No doubt.
Absolutely. He's one of the, he's a very high energy type of artist and
Oh, yeah.
performer. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
that's definitely somebody from a performance aspect too. That's somebody you would want to just sit and learn from.
oh yeah,
Because I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it, no doubt.
right. So if I got say I've got your phone and I call this the iPhone top 10 and I'm looking at your phone, what are the top 10 songs or let's say the top 10 artists
Okay.
that I'm going to find you've been listening to? That's a little bit easier than the songs.
Okay. Top 10 artists I've been listening to.
Yeah.
Chris Stapleton.
Hmm.
Here lately, I've been real big on Cameron Marlowe.
Yeah.
He's got 2 or 3 songs that are on regular rotation on the streaming sites and stuff that I really enjoy. Sam Cooke is going to be on there. Otis Redding is going to be on there. Let's see. Got me on the spot here. Let's see. Diamond Rio. I still listen to Diamond Rio to this day. Greatest hits. Love all their stuff. It's amazing. How many have I said? That's 4.
That's 5. I think 5.
That's 5. Okay. I'm gonna switch to a gospel guy real quick. David Phelps. Do you know who David Phelps is? Okay.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
He used to sing with the Gaithers. He does solo stuff now, I think. I'm not sure if he's singing with them or not, but one of the greatest voices ever. Just the dude's amazing. Miranda Lambert. I'd say bar none, she's my favorite female country artist. I don't think she's ever done anything that I didn't like. Boys to Men,
Okay.
which Boys to Men, the R&B group, back in the day, I was upset. I loved their music, still love them. Love the harmonies. I love the harmonies there. So they're played pretty regularly. And let's see, I think that's 9.
Yep.
And rounding out my top 10 is probably going to be Whiskey Myers.
Oh, all right.
I've enjoyed their stuff over the last few years as well. So
Yeah.
I'm sure I missed a bunch of people that I listen to regularly, but that's just what popped in my head right now.
Right. So, we're going to take a quick break and
Okay.
we're going to play, Back in the Day. I want folks to hear it. And we're
Awesome.
going to come back and talk about it. We're going to talk about the video for a little bit because I watched
Okay.
the video. So we're going to talk about some of that
Awesome.
and the song and kind of get the feel of where it's from. So just hang on. We'll be right back. And we're going to take a 30-second break. And then we're going to get into Madison Station with Back in the Day on Before Nashville.
Before Nashville is proudly sponsored by Go-Go Tuners, the go-to tuner for professional and amateur musicians. Get your Go-Go Tuner at Go-Go Tuner. By Heart to Heart Coffee, the coffee that gives back. Find out more at heart2heartcoffee.com. By Sibby's Apparel, worn by heroes, made with respect. Order yours at sibby'sapparel.com and by Three Rangers Whiskey, not for the weak or faint-hearted. ThreeRangers.com.
Every first day of summer feels like the last day of school. Windows down, music up, doing donuts in our trucks once the clock struck 3 in the afternoon. I can still remember the way she looked back at me. Jenny Lynn and her friends, and a circle shakes her head and says, boys only think of one thing. We were wild, we were free, with no responsibilities. Back in the day, sun dropping a bottle, sitting on the tailgate outside of McDonald's. Friday night, full moon in the holler, good time. Everybody pitched a 5 in. Bobby's brother bought the beer. All the curfews were broke, all the rules up in smoke. Man, my mom wore me out that year. I was working for the weekend, stuffing money in the jar, saving up for 3 months till I knew I had enough to buy that old pawn shop guitar. I was young, I was sure Jenny Lynn was my whole world. Back in the day, sun dropping a bottle, sitting on the tailgate outside of McDonald's. Friday night, full moon in the Harlem. Good times out to our last dollar. Back in the day. And after all this time and all these years, that first time feeling, she's still right here in my arms. And every kiss, I still love her the same way that I did. Like back in the day, sun dropping a bottle, sitting on the tailgate outside of McDonald's, falling in love one song at a time. I had her heart, man, she still got mine since back in the day. Oh, back in the day.
All right, that is Madison Station. The song's called Back in the Day. Go check it out on the streaming services and like it. Let those guys know that you enjoy it. It's got kind of that 90s feel, kind of a cross between that and modern, I guess you could say 2000s, country. A little bit heavier drum than a lot of them have and stuff.
Yeah.
Thank goodness no snap tracks or any of that stuff. I really appreciate y'all doing that. I tell you, that's something else, man. So give me a little bit of the backstory about back in the day, just the song itself.
Okay, well, the song was written by Craig, my duo partner, and his brother Todd, and then also Lisa McCallum and Quinn Loggins, who I don't know either one of those two, but they wrote the song several years ago, and I wish Craig was here to talk about it since it's his song and he wrote it. But I think they were just talking. They were just sitting, trying to come up with ideas, and they were just reminiscing about, stuff they used to do. And I think one of them may have said, hey, remember back in the day when blah, blah, blah. And then it just sort of stuck, and then they just went from there. So, but it's a song for me. When I first heard it, I loved it just because I think it's so relatable to everybody. I don't know of a human being alive that hasn't met up with old buddies at one time or run into somebody they hadn't seen in a long time. And one of the first things you start talking about, after we get past the kids and how's things going is, hey, you remember back in high school when we did this or did that? You just start reminiscing.
Right.
That's just what people do. And so I think, and I say back in the day all the time. I just say it in general conversation. Yeah, back in the day, we did this. So I think it's just very relatable to most people, for sure.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Now the video, I love the way the video starts out because it's like a bunch of Polaroid pictures, and I'm guessing it's you and Craig both in there.
It is. They told us to bring just a bunch of our old high school sports, because Craig was I think a 2-sport athlete in school. He played baseball and football. His dad was a football coach at Ardmore High School in Alabama. I think he actually coached Craig, I think. I was a 3-sport athlete. I played football, basketball, and baseball for as long as I could remember, from the time I could pick one up till I graduated. And I even played a little bit of college football. So we kind of wanted to have that sports feel. There's some scenes at Franklin High School football stadium there. And I think the last shot, you can see the baseball field in the background. But we just wanted to incorporate, that because we had that in common, our, old days of playing ball. And so we just brought old pictures, old sports pictures from high school, and we used them in several different spots of the video. But yeah.
Okay. So, what was your favorite part about filming that video?
Getting in out of the heat. we picked. That's happened a lot. We've done a photo shoot one time, and I think we picked the hottest day of the year to do this photo shoot. It was outdoors, and then we did this video that day. This was back in June, and it probably was the hottest day in June. But it is what it is. So, no, I enjoyed because we did it all around Franklin, and I kind of just enjoyed running around to the different spots of Franklin because I'm not a local or anything. So we just kind of got to run around to these different spots that they were sending us to. And, we went out to Leaper's Fork and did the scene at the end where we're like on a porch. That's like that's like in Leaper's Fork somewhere doing some store.
Okay.
And I always like going out in there anyway because it's just cool. It's
Absolutely. Yeah, we love going out there when we make it to Nashville. We've got, I say we love going. We haven't been there but a couple of times, but it's just cool to go. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Let's get into like stage moments for a minute. What's if you're up on stage, I mean, everybody does it nowadays. It doesn't matter if you're Kenny Chesney playing 70,000 people or you're, some up and coming, just started up artist, you're doing cover tunes. I mean,
right.
Everybody does when there's shows. What's your favorite cover tune to do?
Hands down, absolute favorite one to do is She Talks to Angels by the Black Crowes. I've done that many, many times. I love singing that song. A close second would be Wanted Dead or Alive, Bon Jovi. Mainly because both of those songs, particularly Wanted Dead or Alive, is a song that everybody knows. So when you do those type songs, the crowd's singing it with you.
Right.
And they're just fun to sing for me. I enjoy it. But I mean, it's weird. If I'm on stage doing a cover song, I want it to be a song like that everybody knows. But if I'm like going to record a cover of something, I would want it to be something maybe a little bit more obscure, like a personal, like a deep cut or something of something. But on stage, I think you pretty much, if you do like a song that half people don't know what it is, it's going to fall flat and it's going to be weird. So,
right. What's your most embarrassing stage moment?
Let's see. This was years ago. I was like on the back of a trailer doing a gig with one of my buddies. And it was an acoustic gig, just him. And I think we might have had a drummer. I can't remember. But I ended up tripping on a wire or something and knocking over one of the speakers. I fell down. Speakers fell. Was rolling off the trailer. It was pretty bad. It was a major party foul. So yeah, for sure.
So I mean, you guys, when you're just starting out, of course, or you're getting into that mode of, I don't want to call it practice, but getting used to being out. You're playing a lot of different bars, dive bars, or you may get some bigger clubs. Like what's it called? It's in Texas, the Armadillo. I can't remember what it's called, but you get some of those. Right. What's your favorite venue to play in?
My favorite venue to play in. for me, I'm not going. I don't know if there's a specific one, but I like the smaller, like club type venues.
Right.
And I've done festival stages before, which is probably my least favorite. When it's just masses of people and they're, 30 feet off the stage, and it's there's no. I did an arena one time in Huntsville, Probst Arena, and or any arena for that matter. It's usually extremely dark and you can't really see the crowd that well, and there's just a major disconnect in those big venues. But when you're in a bar, like a smaller club, when the people are right on top of you on the stage, it's just, to me, it's way more better because you can feed off of, the crowd. Like you can,
Right.
Whether it's working or not. They'll
Right.
let you know, if you've got their attention or not. And that's to me, that's the best place to play. I don't know that I could pinpoint a specific club, but just smaller venues like that in general. Now, one that I've never played that I would absolutely love to play because it's one of my favorite places to go see a show is Ryman Auditorium.
Yeah.
There. I've never gotten that chance. Hopefully that will come sooner rather than later, but I would love to play there at some point. Yeah,
that's maybe somebody from the Ryman will check this out and they'll decide to invite you guys on.
Yes, please do. I'm available.
So you guys are leaving for a tour, say in the morning. What essential items do you have to pack to go on a tour?
Oh, I'm pretty easy. I mean, I've got to have a toothbrush. For me, a football. When I have downtime, I want to throw football. Mm-hmm. Whoever's willing to catch it and throw it back to me, I'm ready. So, so I definitely need a football. I don't know. That's, like I said, I'm pretty easy. I'm pretty easy to please. I've got to have my phone mainly because it's got pictures of my kids on it. So if I'm going to be away from my kids, I got to be able to see my kids and talk to my kids. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Now this is one of those personal preference questions. Okay.
All right.
Do you feel like that streaming services are good or bad for music nowadays?
For exposure, good. For getting paid, bad. I mean, the positive is they do. That's how everybody listens to music nowadays for the most part. I mean, it's through the streaming services. I mean, that's how I listen to music. Very rarely do I listen to terrestrial radio. I mean, I do occasionally, but not much. Most of the time I'm streaming something. And I've discovered a lot of, artists that I probably would have never known had it not been for that. So from the exposure standpoint, it's great. It allows new and independent artists, particularly, to sort of get seen and heard. But the compensation of the streaming is, let's face it, it's absurd right now. I don't know what needs to be done to fix it. Obviously, probably legislation of some sort, but it doesn't take much research to see that, writers and the people that are producing this stuff aren't making hardly anything.
Right.
It's fractions of a penny per stream, and you really have to just, you have to be like Morgan Wallen, Taylor Swift level streams to really turn a significant profit. So
yeah,
that needs to change for sure. But for the exposure, yeah, I think they're good.
I read an article one time, and I wish I could remember exactly what it said, but it said that in order to make um, $1 million, and it gave the number of streams you would have to have, and it was unbelievable. I mean, just
I can imagine. Yeah.
blow your mind, because, people think, oh, they're streaming, they're making all kinds of money. No, every stream, like you say, you're making fractions of a penny, like 0.3 or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, got a question here. I'm just going to throw up here on the screen real quick. And this is from, Dave Overgainer. Where do you guys record, and who's producing your stuff?
Okay. The stuff we've got in the can that we've done was done at a couple of different studios. I can't remember. I think Black River has it now. It was Millsap's old place on Music Row, his old studio.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was called. It's like I said, it's changed the name now, but we did a lot of it there. Dan Frizsell did the recording. Went through the recording process with us. He produced Lee Bryce's Rumor that went #1 a couple years ago,
Right.
and then also Jimmy Ritchie. We brought him on board, and he has come in and has remixed some of the tunes. And there were some of the tunes that we kind of did a year or two ago. So he kind of came in and I don't want to say modernized them, but he changed the mixes up a little bit on them, on a couple of nothing major. And
Right.
so yeah, those two guys, and also Craig helped in the process as well. Craig was, he, like I said, Craig, this is his project. He's the one that got this project together, brought me in. Most of the songs that we've recorded up to this point are his. And so, he's the type guy. He's not going, if it's the producer there does something that he doesn't really want or care for, he's going to let them know it, and he's not going to let them do it. So
Right.
everything has to get, our stamp of approval. But yeah, those two guys. And like I said, we recorded at Berry Hill, and I can't remember the name of the studio now. It was sold as well, but a couple of different places. I did most of the vocals in Dan's house, actually, after we did the tracks. So,
Okay. So as independent artists, I mean, like we said, Craig's had some good success. I hate to call it success because everybody defines success in their own way, but he's I'll just say it this way. He had a run of good luck, with Heartland, and
yeah, no doubt.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
very few people can say I had a #1 song, and they did. They in 2006, I Love the First went #1, and it's one of those things Craig has said before. Nothing else may ever happen for the remainder of my music career, but I can always say, we had a #1 song. So,
Right.
and
No
amount of money can take that away. Yeah.
Right. Several of those platinum accolades hanging on the wall too.
Yeah, no doubt.
But what are some of the challenges that you guys have faced trying to promote your music and kind of grow your fan base? What have you run into?
Oh, obviously money is the biggest challenge. It's people don't think people understand, even as an independent artist, how much money is involved in doing everything, from radio promotion to obviously recording. And then once you get the song out there, I mean, you're paying all sorts of money for videos and, people to, PR and all that stuff. So, money, obviously. Now, we're an independent artist. Our label is Yellowhammer Records, which is basically us and a friend of ours. And so we've been fortunate there to have some backing financially. But
Right.
outside of that, outside the money part, it's just the politics. Um, radio's always been bad as far
Right.
as jockeying, major labels jockeying their artist up the chart and getting spins and, doing all the stuff they have to do to get that done. But then now we're seeing it even in the streaming services and in the digital world. Now that's slowly becoming radio all over again.
Right.
With the, you kind of wish it was more of, hey, is the song good? Is the song good? Okay, let's play it. That's not the case.
Right.
It's you've got to, I'm trying to be nice here. You've got to kiss the right babies and shake the right hands, and so that's the politics of it is challenging. But luckily, we did sign with the manager back in March that Dwayne Brown. He's with Brown Lee Entertainment. He was with Sony for 40 years, something like that, in distribution. So he's a great resource to have. I mean, he's a guy that knows everybody in the business, basically. So he's definitely been there to help kind of push some doors open for us that we probably would not have gotten pushed open if he wasn't there, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I was trying to go back to, I will tell you this, and I know, we're getting kind of long in the tooth here, but my podcast is one of those that there's no parameters. I mean, I've said it before, and it's probably true. If people on Music Row ever heard the podcast and heard me say things, I would probably be banned from ever stepping a foot in Nashville. Either that or there'd be a bounty on my head or something. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this. I work in radio during the day.
Okay.
And,
yeah, I think I read the.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been there and I know I've talked to a lot of people about the industry and I've seen how that goes. And that's a lot of why I like to do the independents because, you guys you're struggling to get what it seems like other people are just handed to them.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
And it stinks, but, now
it's all about, followers, social media followers.
Yeah.
And labels and things. If you don't have a huge social media following, they won't even look at you. And it's
if you don't have 1 million people watching your videos on TikTok, then they'll
they
never know your name.
They don't care. And so that's another obstacle. I guess I could have, because me and Craig are not that social media savvy. And so we're kind of like, I don't think I want to do a TikTok dance. Yeah, that's just not who I am. That's not what I do. For those that do, that's great. Not knocking them, more power to them. But nobody wants to see me dancing to back in the day. So
right.
So I mean, I guess that's just part of it. That I don't know. That's we're learning. We're trying to figure it out.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, I'll add to that. Nobody wants to see me dance back in the day.
Well, me either.
It was pretty bad. Is there a particular time of day that your creativity seems to be, I guess I would say, elevated? Like you feel more creative any particular time of day?
Yeah. Before I had kids, it was late at night. And then I had kids, and I don't even get to see late at night anymore because I'm asleep,
Yeah.
So it's kind of switched. I guess now it would be more early mornings, like after I get up and get going. When the day's fresh, that's kind of when I have, most of my good thoughts, good ideas, things like that. So it's weird to switch. So like I said, it used to be late at night, now it's the morning. So
now we talked about it earlier, and you and Craig are not new to eating up shoe leather, as I would say, on the streets of Nashville. Y'all been around there for a minute, Is there anything that you would change about the career that you've had in music?
For me, I wish I would have gotten serious about it earlier in my life. I think early on, my college days and maybe a little after, for me, it was a confidence thing because I was in Nashville. I wasn't up there for the business. I was up there with my friends and cousins that were in the business. I was just hanging around, So
Right.
to me, they were the artists. They were the talented. They're the ones that had the talent. I was just hanging around. I just didn't have the confidence that I belonged, I guess you could say. And it took me a few years to kind of realize that, hey, I can do this too. So I wish I'd have started a little bit earlier, just to had more years under my belt, because I was a little bit late to the game as far as when I actually got serious about pursuing it.
Right.
But you live and learn. It is what it is. I can't speak for Craig, of course, but
Right.
yeah, I'm sure there's things he would have definitely changed too.
Right. And once again, we were talking with Lance Horton from Madison Station. If you didn't hear their song earlier, it's called Back in the Day. You need to go check it out. Lance, where can they find you guys on the worldwide waste of time?
Okay. Yeah. Our website is madisonstationband.com. And then from there, all of our socials are on there. We're Twitter, Facebook. Yes, we are on TikTok. We have an account, even though we haven't posted a whole lot on there, but we are on TikTok, Instagram, all those places. If you just type in Madison Station, you can find us. So,
all right. And what about music? Where do they get your music?
Music. Oh, we're on pretty much everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Amazon. Am I missing one? Pretty much anywhere where you can stream, download. Pandora. I checked the other day. Matt typed in her name. Boom, there we were. So yeah, we're pretty much on all the services right now.
Good deal. So, any shows coming up soon that you might want to share?
Not yet. We're I hope we're we've got a band together. I think kind of on standby. We're just waiting for the right thing. It's one of these deals. We could go out and be, doing bar gigs right now. Craig, he's been there, done that, and
Right.
we're both him. He's got a daughter just starting college. He's got a son that's about to start high school. I've got two little kids. So really, before we get out, I mean, we've just always said from get go, we want to do stuff that's worth our while. We don't want we don't want to be wasting our time with stuff. So we obviously could be out there doing stuff right now, but we're just waiting right now. Hoping as we release this music, hopefully the songs will catch on a little bit, get some spins on the radio, so forth. And then at that point, we can get set up with the right booking agents and start doing the right stuff. The stuff that's going to make it worth our while.
So kind of honing the craft right now before you.
Yeah, pretty much. We and then we've done, like I said, we've done shows before, but we're just sort of right now. We didn't do anything, we hadn't done anything in a while. We really since COVID, right before COVID. But we're just waiting for the right time to get back out there and do stuff. Like I said, we just want to make sure it's the right time and right place and all that.
Right.
So
right. So with the stuff that you got coming up over the next few months, are you guys just releasing like one single at a time?
Yeah, as of right now, I think the plan right now, I think we plan on releasing a new one in October, another one in December. After Christmas, we'll probably sort of reevaluate. Do we want to drop everything that we've done at this point, what we got in the can that we're happy with? Do we want to go ahead and just release an EP and then start recording new stuff? Or do we just want to extend that out a little bit longer and just continue every couple months doing new singles. We'll burn that bridge when we get there, but it's probably going to depend on how, the follow-up singles do. And then we'll decide. But yeah, there will be a EP that will be coming out at some point, most likely next year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Lance, thanks for coming on tonight, man. I appreciate it. Want to tell everybody, if you didn't get to hear the song, you can go to, Madison Station, look it up there. It's also going to be on our Before Nashville playlist on Spotify, and I'll put that on right after the show.
Awesome.
And you can go there and listen to it as well on the playlist. We try to put all of our artists on there and share them with folks. And so we definitely want everybody to go check you guys out. And we'll keep an eye out for new music, because I can tell you right now, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to it, because you guys have got a good sound, and it sounds like you're doing everything the right way as far as, getting to where you want to be.
Well, thank you.
So,
we appreciate it. Thank you for having us too, by the way, or having me, since Craig, like that and all.
Yeah.
I haven't even got to insult him and down him at all since I've been here. I've been on this thing an hour, and that's the first dig I've had at him. I can't believe it, but because I can assure you, if the shoes was switched and I couldn't make it and he was on here, he'd be dogging me the whole time. But anyway, I'm just a nicer guy, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. You just got more scruples than he does.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
All right. Want to remind everybody, we'll be back on Monday night with another episode of Before Nashville. So be sure to catch us. You can also find this episode. It's going to be up on all of our streaming, everywhere you can find Madison Station. We're on iHeart. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify, Google. We're on all of them. So be sure to go check them out. And you can always watch the episode again over on our YouTube channel. So be sure to go do that. So until next time, you guys have a great night. And Lance, thanks for coming on, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.